On this week's boiler tip, we're going to look at an additional way that we can help the deaerator temperature come up. Once we've got water going in, steam going in, and we've attained pressure on the deaerator, it's important to keep in mind that the water in the deaerator, as it sat before we started up, was cold. And when we heat incoming water, that cold water is not going to be heated. We've done experiments here where we put steam on the DA, and if we don't have flow through the deaerator, after 8 hours, the bottom of the deaerator is still cold. And that is the water that we're putting in the boiler. So once we get steam on the deaerator, a good way to move water through it and not necessarily put it in the boiler is to slowly drain it. So when we get steam coming into the deaerator, when we get the vent open so that we can evacuate air, we want to crack the drain. So by having a controlled flow of water out of the deaerator, yeah, we're dumping water, but we're dumping cold water. We're allowing the incoming water to heat, and by the time we get the boiler up to full pressure and temperature, we don't want to be pumping cold water in it. So if we're draining that out, we can actually watch the hot water fill the boiler from the top, or the deaerator from the top down. And then once we're getting hot water out of the drain, we can throttle that back closed. So we're just evacuating the cold water because it's the process of water coming in and encountering the steam in the spray head and in the scrubber section or in the trays. That's when we're heating it. We're not going to heat that water just by putting steam on the tank, because we don't have the heat exchange that's occurring as a result of the spraying and the scrubbing sections. So sometimes it's best to get rid of that water, get the cold water out, get it fully functional. So if you would imagine this tank full of water to about here, when steam comes in through the scrubber, it's going to heat the water within the scrubber, but once it goes into the top of the tank, we're going to have a surface level where we are heating the water because steam's contacting it, and that is going to come up in temperature. But that hot water is going to stay at the top, and as a result, it actually forms an insulating barrier between steam moving downward into the water, because heat transfer between the steam and the water will stop as that surface level approaches the steam temperature. So just like a swimming pool in the spring, you may put your toe in and the couple top inches of water are, feels great. You jump in, you hit that cold water underneath, and you realize, made a terrible mistake. So the key to heating water is doing it as the water comes in. So unless we're making up water, we're not heating water. So by draining, we're allowing the full function to occur as the water comes in, and we're simply removing the water that there's really no way that we're going to heat.